What if we want to multiply two polynomials? And by that I mean polynomials with more than one term. Well, we're still in a situation where we have addition and subtraction inside parentheses and multiplication outside. So we still have to apply the distributive property. But now we have two sets of parentheses. So we have to apply the distributive property twice. Let's see what that looks like. We want to multiply this first polynomial with 3 terms by the second polynomial with 2 terms. First, we'll think of our first polynomial as just kind of a sealed unit and apply the distributive property to our second polynomial. So we're going to say this is equal to our first polynomial times 2x plus our first polynomial times -1. So that was applying the distributive property, thinking of that x squared minus 3x plus 2 as a closed unit. We're thinking we're applying the distributive property to the right. But we can also apply the distributive property to the left. So the next thing we're going to do is distribute to the left across each instance of the first polynomial. So we'll have x squared times 2x minus 3x times 2x plus 2 times 2x plus, now we have an x squared times -1 minus 3x times -1 plus 2 times -1. And that was the distributive property again, but now going to the left. And now, finally, we're left with multiplication of monomials, which we know how to do. X squared times 2x is going to give us 2x to the 2 plus 1 is 3. Negative 3x times positive 2x will have negative. 3 times 2 is 6. X times x is x squared. 2 times 2x will have plus 4x. X squared times -1, that's negative x squared. 3x times -1, that's positive 3x. 2 times -1, that's minus 2. And notice that when we did that, we got two pairs of like terms. We sometimes think of these as middle terms. So we multiplied numbers and applied the exponent rules. And our last step is going to be to combine like terms. So we'll have 2x to the third. Negative 6x squared minus another x squared will have negative 7x squared. Positive 4x plus positive 3x is going to be positive 7x. And finally, minus 2. So what actually happened here? What actually happened is in this step, notice we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 terms. And what we were doing was each term in our first polynomial was multiplied by each term in our second. And that's what we need to do when we multiply two polynomials. Just like when we're doing long multiplication with numbers, we end up multiplying every digit in the first number with every digit in the second and then keeping track of the place values. We do the same thing when we multiply two polynomials. And we can always write this out using distribution twice. But That's a long and tedious process, and it's easy to make copying mistakes. So in the next two videos, we'll see two different ways of keeping track of that process.